Have you ever been in a situation where someone did something so unexpected that it left you stunned and unable to process the situation? Well, today we're going to be talking about me versus you problems, how to differentiate between them, and how to deal with the complications that arise from these. So, before we dive in deeper to this, what is a me versus you problem? Well, a me problem is a problem that you cause onto another individual, causing them to treat you differently. One example could be, for example, if you make fun of someone, and due to that, they're treating you differently because of the action that you took. A you problem is a problem where someone treats you differently, but it's irrelevant in terms of the actions that you took on them. For example, let's say you try to talk to a friend next week and they don't actually say hi to you. You said hi to them and you're wondering what's going on. And you think back and you realize that there was nothing that you actually did. But because of this, you're now dealing with someone who has a you problem where the issue is on their hand entirely. Now, it's critical to be able to differentiate between me versus you problems because the way that we actually deal with this is different and the ramifications that ensue are different as well. So you may be wondering, Param, how do we actually differentiate through this? Well, one way to do it is by journaling. And the reason why I'm recommending journaling is because when someone does something so unexpected towards you, if they just suddenly ignore you or change their behavior or maybe give you a certain look, you could be stressed, understandably so, and anxious. And when you're thinking about these thoughts in your head, they're not processed too well, at least in my own experience. I found that through journaling, it's a better way to understand my thoughts and go forward with it to find the ultimate answer. So the way that I'd like you to journal this segment is by having two columns. The first column is by writing out all of the interactions you've had with this person that could have been negative and just being completely honest and frank with it. Now, this may be hard for some people as you try it, but the more and more you do this, the more self-aware you'll be, and you'll be able to see the signs that you want to give off. This can be things that are positive or negative, but just highlight the negative aspects in this specific scenario. So when doing this, you're going to notice a couple of things that may have been, triggering to someone, and you're just going to want to highlight that for now. Now, in situations where you're friends with this individual, have some more knowledge on their context, you're going to want to actually write that out as well. For example, if an individual, just had their parents pass away, that could be something that could affect them, and understandably so. And by writing these things, we're able to process what's going on in our life. As a byproduct of actually writing these things, you're going to feel a sense of a relief and your anxiety is going to dissipate. And once you've actually written this down, you've given your brain enough information to actually make a clear and conscious decision. Because before, all of these thoughts were running around, they were not organized, but now in front of you, you have a clear page of, things that may have been your fault, things that may have been events that led to your friend or, acquaintance feeling the way that they did. And from this, you're going to have an intuitive feel or a gut feeling of what is right. And from this, you need to go through with that. You've done all the conscious thinking that you can, and now your brain has enough power to process this decision and move forward with something that works. So by doing this, you have two things that you can do. In the event that it is a me problem, meaning that you may have made a mistake to hurt them, it's important to take ownership of the situation. What I would do in this situation is I would message them and, mention that I made a mistake. I would say something along the lines of, hey, I'm going to use a pseudonym, Brad. Hey, Brad, I noticed that there was an issue when we met up earlier today. I didn't really understand why, but I did a little reflecting and I came up with X, Y, and Z. At first, I didn't realize that this was a problem, but after reflecting on it, I can see how that may have hurt you. I just wanted to bring this up with you because I value you as a friend, and I just wanted to know if I could treat you up to a coffee to talk about this, to make it up to you. And, if there's anything I could do to help in another way, please let me know. You're appreciated, and hope to hear from you. in some situations, this will not work. And it should just be understood because, some people may not like certain actions taken to them that are negative, and that's fair enough. But by doing this, we do two things. First of all, we preserve our integrity because we want to do what is right by us. And the second thing that it does is that we're at least giving them a chance to come up to us and be like, yeah, you know what? You hurt me because of this reason, and the trust is gone in this factor. They can still say that they don't want to be your friends or acquaintance, or they can say that, okay, let's work on this. It's nice that you have self-awareness and you want to work on the situation together. So even if there's a 30% chance of success in this, I'd recommend it because having a strong network is very important. And in my own experience, when we do ask for forgiveness in these situations while we are self-aware, it usually does work out. Now, in the event that individuals do not want to forgive us, it happens. And we have to accept that scenario. And we just have to understand that we're not perfect. We're always a work in progress. And this is an event that we can learn from, so it doesn't happen in the future. Now, in the event that there is a you problem, the situation is different. What I would do normally is I would at least send one message and say, let's use Bob in this example. Hey, Bob, I noticed that there was a little bit of a different feeling when we saw each other yesterday. I'm wondering if we could, chat about it, if everything's okay. Is there anything I could do to help you? And there's a couple ways that this can go. The first way is that Bob says, yeah, you know what? To be honest, I'm having some challenges in my life. Please don't take it too personally. And that would need someone who is very self-aware to give this kind of example and, in line with their emotions. This is something that I haven't seen too much in my own personal experience. But the next example are twofold. One is just someone ignoring you. The next one is someone just saying, yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. And this is a more common scenario. If this happens, all you can do is just say, okay, I understand. Here if you need me. And from this, there's a couple of elements that could happen. With this new individual, Bob, it could be the end of your friendship, or, it could unfortunately even go worse in some instances where Bob may spread rumors about you if you do not treat that scenario the way that he envisioned it. So these rumors can be spread. Obviously, they're not fun to deal with. But one thing that I've learned from rumors is that we just have to be ourselves and don't let it affect us. And although it's not fun to deal with, by being our authentic self, people will be able to see that. And ultimately, a rumor is just something that people want to propagate if there's a plausibility of truth in it. But if we act like ourselves, we're able to dismantle that because the plausibility goes down to zero if everyone sees that we're congruent with ourselves. We're keeping our thoughts, words, and deeds in the same manner, and people can feel that energy. And over time, however long it takes, the people that want to actually see the truth will, and those that don't, you don't really need them in your life. Now, I'd like to share a personal anecdote to kind of wrap up this episode where I experienced a you problem. So I am a regular at a pub where I always come for their wings night because wings are delicious. And a couple months ago, I met this individual who happened to come on wings night as well. We chatted, we got along really well, and we had a lot of similar interests, such as going to the gym and, just having a good time, learning about life and growing as individuals. One day, I noticed that he came to the pub on wings night, and he felt a little bit off. His energy was very rushed. I felt that he was stressed. And I just checked in on him and just like, hey, is everything okay? I noticed that, you're having a little bit of an off energy. Yeah, I'm fine. And then I just wanted to double check with him because I care for this individual. I'm like, are you sure? Yeah. Kind of waved me off. I'm like, okay, whatever, fair enough. Maybe you're just having a bad day. And what ended up happening after is I just turned around, chatted with some of the regulars who are at the pub. And once I turned back, I noticed this individual actually leaves the seat beside me. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Whatever, I won't judge, giving him the benefit of the doubt here. And 30 minutes goes by, and I had sent this individual a message on Instagram just to see if they were going to come to the pub and join me for wings night that night. what I found is that this individual didn't open my message, which was not normal. So I'm like, okay, maybe something's up. We'll see how it goes. And about another 30 minutes passes, and I'm like, okay, why is he not looking at my messages? He's on his phone, clearly. I noticed that after that, I went on his profile, and he removed me as a follower of his account, and also he removed himself from my account, which was very weird because I previously, just about an hour ago, expressed care for him, just seeing how he is. Now, at first, I was feeling very anxious. I was like, oh man, what did I do? And I think these are natural emotions to feel. But what ended up happening here is that after a couple minutes, I thought about it in my head. I'm just like, you know what? Maybe there are some issues on his end. And as I thought about it more, about a week or so ago, there was a girl. This girl was someone that my quote-unquote friend really liked at the time. And she was essentially wasting his time and playing him just for fun. So what ended up happening here is that my friend was frustrated, understandably so, as everyone would be. But he didn't deal with his emotions in the right way. He didn't have power over the dynamics with the girl. So that pent-up frustration was hurting him. And he wanted to, in my opinion, this is a conclusion I came to, use that frustration to have power over someone else. In this situation, it was by removing me as a follower and making me, sad or upset. And he succeeded in that for 30 minutes. But, after that night finishes, I go home, I journal, I reflect on the situation, and I conclusively come to the definition that this is what I think happened. The next week, I come in for the weekly wings night, and I see him there. I'm feeling a little bit more anxious than normal. But, I'm like, okay, whatever. We don't say hi because he's clearly ignored me, but I chat to the other regulars, have a good time. And what happens after? I go home. And that was really that for that. Now, a couple weeks go by, and I've noticed that the way some of the other regulars are interacting with me is different. I've come to the conclusion that this individual has now spread a rumor about me. And, the first night, I felt a little bit of an off energy. I felt like people were judging me. Again, a little bit anxious. I came in at a day where I wasn't having the best time. So at this point, I was feeling like, okay, man, this is going to suck. But I went through with it. And, the next week comes around and I just decide I'm just going to be myself. I have a great time. I make everyone laugh. I am just completely myself, making jokes and, trying to just raise the energy of the room. Eventually, the majority of the regulars just vibe with me. Some don't, but that's okay. And this individual keeps trying to spread rumors. But unfortunately, these rumors don't work anymore. And now I'm in a scenario where I'm just by myself and everyone likes me. And those that don't, it doesn't really bother me. And in fact, even for this individual that spread these rumors and did this action to me, the most powerful thing about what I'm sharing right now is I feel no hate. I don't feel any worry. I don't feel any anxiety. And I actually just wish him well. I want this individual to feel good and hopefully deal with the situation in a way that is healthy and for him to get forward with this. Learning how to deal with me versus you problem has saved me hours of stress and anxiety, as I would usually blame myself for these issues. But using the tips and tricks that I've taught you in this episode, such as how to, what is a me versus you problem, how to differentiate between them, the ramifications and how to deal with each of these scenarios, and how to deal with the possible consequences like the rumors that may arise, is going to be something that really does help you in your future scenarios and relationships in life. Now, to finish off this episode, I just want to read a famous quote from everyone's famous childhood book, hopefully, and it is this: "Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind." Dr. Seuss. I hope you got value from this episode, and you can use the knowledge and tools from this episode to help you with your future relationships in life. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a like, tell a friend or two, and catch the next episode at 10 a.m. Monday PST. And trust the process. Cheers.